Welcome to the Mother-Daughter-ish podcast. It's your mama's favorite podcast.
And the podcast your daughter always wanted.
This is Miss Dawn.
And Aungelique.
From the 713. Houston, y'all. Get connected and stay connected weekly as new shows debut on Sunday, Wednesday, and please check out our Saturday Out and About showcases.
Enjoy the show. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and tell every woman on the planet that you know about our show.
Here's our show for today. Hey, it's Miss Dawn. You wondering how you can support our show, Mother-Daughter-ish? We have Cash App, we have PayPal, and we do have Vimeo. Support our show so that we can reach out to more women. Our goal is to reach and build a community of 1 million women. Why don't you come on and help us do that? Hello, mothers and daughters. Today we have a really fun show. We're going to talk about something that I think affects every person at some point or another. Does not matter what your age is, does not matter anything. We all go through all types of different relationships. But today specifically, we're going to be talking about dating and relationships. That's something that I hear a lot of people talk around about, but I never hear any real good, solid information. Well, I've got a great lady here on today that's going to really talk about some things that she's experienced, some things that she knows, some things she's written about, things that she coaches and talks to women about. And since this podcast, Mother-Daughter-ish, is dedicated to women, I want to welcome my special guest, Miss Alison Wellington. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. Tell me, how did you get into this profession? Let us know a little bit about you, and then, hey, we're going to get right into it.
Yes. So I actually initially went to school to become a school teacher. And then once I started teaching, I realized I didn't like it. And so I went.
Well, we definitely have that in common. I said to myself, you know what? I don't think I want to go to jail, so I'm not going to teach.
Yeah. But I still wanted to work with children in some capacity. So I went back to school and I received a degree in school counseling.
Okay.
And so that's where I kind of began putting my foot in the door with mental health. Now, from there, in my personal life, I was dating this gentleman who either was unwilling or unable to commit. I don't know, and I don't care. It really doesn't matter. All I know is that I'm not getting what I want, right? And after 4 years of being with him, I made it very plain, and I made it plain throughout, but after the 4-year mark, I made it very plain that if he was unable to deliver on what I was looking for, then this relationship isn't going to work. He said he needed more time. I said, I ain't got no more time. Right. And then that was the end of that, right?
Absolutely.
But because I had the mental health background, I was able to kind of pick up the pieces and create my own process on how I could move on from that relationship that didn't serve me to a year and a half later being engaged to be married.
Wonderful.
So once I was able to create that process, I wondered to myself, I'm like, well, if this worked for me, I wonder if it'll work for others. So I did some testing first, right? I reached out to some folks I went to college with that I knew was single based on Facebook and Instagram, all that good stuff. And I asked them, I said, I created this process for myself. It seems to be working. Would you be interested in hiring me for $0 and seeing if I can help you through the dating process? To learn
kind of like a little beta test, huh?
Absolutely, because you can't sell a product unless you know it works, right?
Exactly.
Just because it works for me doesn't mean it'll work for others.
Right.
So I was very successful with them. And I said, you know what? Maybe it's time that I offer this service to the masses, helping single women navigate dating successfully so that they can find the partner that they deserve.
Right. I love that. And right now, is there a particular age group of women that you're working with, or is it just across the board?
Well, my preference, I'll be honest with you, I like working with ladies who are 35 plus.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because usually women who are 35 plus are really serious about being committed. And like any professional, you want to work with clientele who's serious about getting the work done, right? Absolutely. But I've had clients as young as 27 who have been serious and dedicated to going through the dating process with as little friction as possible so that they can move on in their romantic lives.
Yeah, I was so excited when I was reading your bio and it said that you had been doing it for 10 years. I said, okay, yeah, we can talk. We can talk. She's got 10 years put in. I figure, you've seen some things, you've heard, you know some things, you've met some people, you've got some history of different folks that you've worked with. You've got all kinds of different scenarios. And I think that right there is really interesting because I know that just as women, we want to learn from other women, but we want to learn from women that have tried and tested and proven. Now, you wrote an ebook, and the name of the book is Knowing When It's Time to Move On. So it's Move On. What inspired that title? Because there's always something that inspires a title. What inspired the Move On? Because I love the message and I like the tips you had in there. And I was like, I wish every woman on the planet knew you got to know when to move on, because sometimes people do stay too long. I know my daughter and I, we did a show several months ago and we were talking about the moving on process, and she was saying, one thing for sure, she's definitely stayed too long in relationships, and you got to know when to move on. So tell me what inspired the title and the book message.
Yes. So one of the biggest issues that folks have when they're going back on the dating scene is that they're not over their ex. You're not going to be successful while dating if you're still pining over and falsely comparing the new guy to the old guy, right?
Very true.
And so at the root of it, it's actually like it's something in education they call backwards planning, where you know where you want to end. So then you plan accordingly, right? Like I know that I want to let go of my client right when they are in a committed relationship. So then what do I need to do to get them there? Well, guess what? If they're not going with a clear mind and heart on these dates because they're still thinking about the ex, then there's no way that they're going to be successful. So that's why I had to backtrack and to help women and men, because it's actually useful for both, but to help people to figure out this relationship isn't serving me and how do I let them go? Because the faster you let them go, the faster you can put yourself back on the dating scene with a clear mind and heart, the faster you can get into that committed relationship. And then if you believe in marriage, move in that direction as well.
Absolutely. I love that you said backwards planning, because sometimes when I'm trying to explain that to my business clients and I go, okay, let's start with the end in mind. Like you come to me and you say, I have this thing that I do and I want to take this business to become a millionaire. And then I go, okay, so you have to put the things in place that's going to get you to the million, because everybody can say they want to be a millionaire, but if you don't know what the end result is supposed to look like, then how in the world do you get there? So in the dating world, I would only imagine that if, somebody doesn't know what a husband looks like for them, then look, I said the most old lady thing I have ever said to my daughters a few months ago. They were talking about how trash it is out here dating, blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, of course it's trash dating because you're not dating husbands. And they gave me the most stank look. One's 21, one's 28. And they were like, who do you think you're? And I said, the moment I said that, I realized what an old lady that sounded like, but it made a lot of sense to me, because I have never dated on the just let me get a date to go to dinner. I would be dating husbands. And so I'm like telling them, if you guys are not interested in husbands, that's fine. But look at the caliber of people you're dating. Don't complain about it, but you're literally not dating husbands. So don't complain about how trash they are. You've allowed them to be invited into your space. So, when you get somebody, I'm going to give you a real life scenario. If you get somebody that comes to you and say, I really need help with dating. I haven't been on a date. And when I say a date, I mean, literally, I haven't been on a date in over 12 years, not even down to the Cracker Barrel. And I'm thinking, I've raised my kids, I've, raised my businesses. I'm coasting right now, having a great time in life, traveling, business. And I've decided now that I actually would like a husband. What would you even tell somebody like that?
So my first piece of advice is, and this would be advice for someone who has been 12 years or if it's been 12 days. Before we get back on the dating scene, we first need to be clear exactly what we're looking for in a partner and in a partnership. Those things are not the same. Right. So in a partner describes the man or the woman that you're dating. Right. In the partnership describes how the relationship would function. What are your shared goals and desires, right? Right. We need to outline those things first, because just like anything else, if I'm looking for a red dress,
Yeah.
I need to know that the dress is red. If you
Right.
tell me go buy a dress, I'm gonna bring you back the red one, the blue one, the green one. I'm not gonna know. I lack clarity.
Right.
So we need to be clear first on exactly what are you looking for. What are the behaviors and the traits that this man must have in order for him to be to you a quality candidate. And I know this sounds a little cold and calculating, but this is what it is. This is who I'm going to sleep with for the rest of my life. This is who I'm going to travel with for the rest of my life. In your case that you just shared, the 12 years, you know, this is who I'm going to retire with and start and putting funds like immediately. Like we need to talk about insurances, and this is a big deal.
Yeah.
If we're talking about someone who hasn't had their children, this is who you're going to raise your children with. And so, yes, we need to be a little cold and calculating and make sure that we're clear on what we're looking for first. That's before we talk about, well, girl, which dating app did you find your husband? I ain't talking about no dating apps yet. I'm not talking about no social events yet. What do you want? Get clear on that first. Once that's clear, then we can start talking about which dating app is the right app for you. Where should you go out socially? How do you choose a wing woman? All that good stuff.
I love that you said that because in 2011 through 2013, I did a television business talk show, and I had a dating coach and professional on there here from Houston. And I was just telling her, and I brought my list because we know what we were talking about that day. And she said, throw that list out. I'm like, girl, do you sound like what? I said, so you're trying to tell me I'm gonna go to the grocery store to buy groceries, but I'm not gonna take a list. So I'm fooling around, gonna forget the bread, I'm gonna forget the milk. Yep. You know, and she said, throw the list out. And she got so upset with me. She said, that's the problem with women. That's why y'all can't get men, because y'all got this list of all these expectations. Y'all need to lower y'all expectations. I went ahead and I finished the interview just out of respect, but I was like, I didn't align with any of her views. What happens? Do you think nowadays, and when I say nowadays, I mean just with the invention of all of the dating apps and everything, are there certain cautions that you tell some of your older clients that, let's just say they're 50 and older, since you said 35 plus, if they're 50 and older, are there some cautions? Because like for me, I'm 49, I'll be 50 this year. I will never be doing a dating app. That's not on the menu. That's already written. I will not be doing dating apps. So what do you tell some of your clients on some of the safety and precautions on some of these dating apps? Because I'm actually going to be talking about a particular story in a couple of weeks with a video from a lady that got scammed really, really, really bad with a lot of these apps. It's worse than the Tinder swindler. But just going to be doing a review on that video and just, you know, educating women on things that they need to be aware of, especially those that are of a particular age, because they really, a lot of them really feel like, well, if it's online, it has to be true. I mean, if they say they're this and they show me a picture of them and their internet just doesn't work good enough to do a video call, it has to be true. So what are some precautions you give older women on online dating, something that a lot of us are just not interested in?
So the first thing is that I would actually disagree with you in regards of being fearful about online dating. Scammers have existed since biblical days. They are going to find their vehicle to scam, whether or not it be over the phone or the internet or knocking at your door or what have you, right? So what you're going to find online is going to be a mixed bag, just like you would find in Starbucks is going to be a mixed bag. Just you would find at work is going to be a mixed bag, right? And so are there precautions? Yes. And we'll get into that in a moment, but it should not be looked at online is scary or online we should be so concerned, but like in person is so much safer. Just as safe or unsafe as online is just as safe or unsafe as in person. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay. Sure.
Now, in regards to how you can protect yourself, I really do need folks to use some logic and reason here. Right? So if this person has Wi-Fi enough to text you on WhatsApp, right? Because if they're international, probably WhatsApp. If they have enough Wi-Fi to send you messages, then they have enough Wi-Fi to do a video.
That's what I was thinking when I was looking at that video. I was like, really? See, I don't have a whole lot of dog in that fight because I've never online dated. So when I see a lot of that, I get like, wow. You know, I get like, that's just interesting that happened. But that was the first thing that I was thinking when I saw the video. If you can do all of that and you can show me how to wire you $6,000 every time we talk, you definitely can get a video together or FaceTime, something.
Right. And so I think you're being very kind. So I'm going to be the mean New Yorker, right? And I'm going to victim blame. And I'm going to say that the behavior is foolish. If I met a man in public, he couldn't get $6,000 out of me.
Look, if you take 50 cents from me, I'm calling 911. So, $6,000, I want you under the jail. So all of that is so far removed from my thought process that I just look and I go, okay. And it's just weird.
Yeah. So we just need to be logical people.
Yeah.
Do I know this person well enough to quote unquote lend them money?
Right.
Will I be able to survive and pay my bills? Just like if it were a friend or a loved one, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to give a friend or a loved one your mortgage money and then you can't pay your mortgage. You would only lend or give what you could afford to if it were a real human being in front of you. So why would you do any more for somebody else? Folks set themselves up, and I really do believe that these people would have fallen for these tricks if they would have met their gentleman on the train or in any other social space.
Right.
So, but to answer your question specifically about ways that you can guard yourself, I need a video chat ASAP.
Exactly. Day one. Yes.
That is going to help you because that's going to give you an environment. You're going to be able to relatively see where they live, how they live, how they function, right? That's going to help a lot. Now, for those who have watched the Tinder Swindler, you could have all the video chats in the world. He looked like he was living it up.
Oh, yeah.
So that would not have safeguarded. But if there's any stranger who is asking you for money, that is the end of the road.
I mean, that is it. I'm amazed. I'm just amazed with a lot that's going on. I want to move into this conversation about, okay, again, I'm a woman of a certain age. And listen, I ain't never heard this before. I never had a man ask me this before. I didn't know this was going on in the world. I didn't know women had this going through their ears. What is all this about? What do you bring to the table with men asking women? I'm old fashioned. I live in 1940. So any man that's coming to me, he already knows I'm the table. He already knows I'm a helpmeet. He already knows that I have value. So to ask me what I bring to the table, I've never in my entire years been asked that question, but I'm hearing a lot of women that I talk to, just different conversations saying that men are asking them, what are they bringing to the table? And I said, in my ears, I'm a little sarcastic because in my ears, it sounds to me like you're saying, which bills can you help me pay? And that's going to be a no. So what is this? What are you bringing to the table conversation, and how should women out here dating handle that conversation? Because for me, if I was ever asked that question, that's the end of the conversation. I'm leaving the table that we're at. Like, I would never even allow that. I've never been asked that before, so that's new to me. What is your opinion?
So I hear what you're saying about when you hear the question, you're thinking finances, right? My understanding, based on the conversations I've had with gentlemen, is that they're not necessarily asking that.
Okay.
They're not necessarily asking about how can you financially contribute to a life together. So when women ask that question, or when we think it, because no one should ask, the purpose of dating is collecting data. Asking that question, I can tell you what I bring to the table. I have $1 million, I have an 800 credit score, I have a Lamborghini. You don't know that to be true. So we should be collecting that information over time. So no one should be asking that question, because it's up to you to have the discernment to assess what this person brings to the table. Asking them is foolishness, right? For either party. But when women ask it or think it, normally we're thinking finances, or we mean finances. But what I found in the conversations I've had with gentlemen is that many times they don't mean finances.
Okay.
And what the conversation that men are having or sharing when they speak to these women is that there's a lot of concern about this so-called modern woman, this independent, strong Black woman.
That. Yep.
A woman who is not going to be a helpmate. A woman who is not going to be as supportive as these gentlemen are looking for.
Or a housewife, yeah.
Right. And so when they ask that question, they don't necessarily mean how much of the finances are you going to cover, but literally, what value do you bring to relationships? Now, what I will say is this. Again, I don't like the question in general because anyone can answer. I can tell you, well, I'm an excellent cook. I'm a terrible cook. And I love to clean. My cleaning is all right. Like, I can tell you anything that you want to hear. It's up to the person that I'm dating to assess it. But that's what I gather is what they truly mean, is that
Okay.
What value, not necessarily financial, do you bring? It's a terrible question that no one should ask.
And the thing about it is that if you really take some time and stop, people stop doing the microwave dating. If you take some time to actually get to know someone, you don't even have to ask that question about their value, because you'll see their value. Because when I think of what somebody brings to the table, I don't think about personally, I don't think about money, but I think about the whole package of the value. Just like when I hear the word high value person, woman or man, I don't think about their money. My high value to me lies in morals and values and things like that. It doesn't lie in how much money you bring to the table or how much value you have as a high value, whatever that word is. Most people take it straight to the money, but for me, a high value man would be somebody with the whole package of just being an awesome, wonderful person that fits into, what I'm looking for a particular mate. So I like the way you answered that question. What's the biggest question that a new person coming into your program, then we'll talk about what you have going on. What is one of the common questions that you're just like, I already know, I signed up Miss Stewart, I already know she's going to ask this question. What's one of the common questions that a newbie that comes to you asks?
So the number one question that I get, and I get this every week because I do a weekly live Q&A on Instagram Live. And the weekly question that I get is, what are the best dating apps? What are the good dating apps? What apps should I get on to find a partner?
Where should I go to hang out? Where the men are? That type of thing.
Right.
Okay.
What's the but
so
no,
it's all wrapped in. Where can I go and place myself to be noticed?
Not even specifically dating apps.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So virtual spaces, not even necessarily where can I go in my city in person to meet quality men, but online. Like that is the number one question that I get.
Oh, wow. I would have never thought that, because I don't date online. So I didn't know that, but it's very interesting because I know that my girls and I, we went on a ski trip to New Mexico back in March. And my daughter was saying that on, I guess, Tinder or whoever, she was saying, oh, all these people liked my picture here. And I was like, how would they know that you're here? And she's like explaining how the app works. And I went, oh, that's interesting. Okay. And it reminded me of like when I travel, I'll look on Meetup or I'll look on stuff like that to attach myself with business people or, women's groups and things, so that while I'm in that city, if I want to go and network or whatever, because I'm a big networker and I have been for the past 25 years. And so when she said that, the two things, clicked together, it made sense for me on how it works. I don't like that particular thing, but I thought that was very interesting, especially for someone who is in and out of different cities or whatever, and you want to meet people and you feel comfortable enough to do that or whatever.
Right.
Okay, great. Wonderful. So tell me what do you have coming up? What type of programs do you do? I know you said you do a weekly call on Instagram. I am just going, I don't know this, but I'm just going to assume you probably also do some speaking engagements, right?
Yes, as well.
There's nobody that I know that has a book, that has a program, that has a specific thing that does not do speaking engagements. I spent 25 years of my life on stages and I love it. And so I could tell that you have that in you as well. So what do you have that's going to be coming up? Because I want women to know what you've got going on. I'm already going to make sure that I put your Instagram and all of that so they can get in on your weekly conversations. But tell me what you got coming up and going on. And I'm going to throw this in there. Do you also attend some of the women's expos to, like, I attend all of the Ultimate Women expos in different places like Dallas and Austin and San Antonio. And we just came back from the one in Atlanta, and then they have, different ones. Do you go to those type of events as well, since those are really, really focused on women?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So,
okay.
I have a side interest in real estate. So I go to a lot of like real estate conventions, business conventions, just so I can learn how to develop myself in my own business.
Absolutely.
But at least in New York, and again, we're probably very jaded people here in New York City, but there's a bit of a shadow on women's empowerment events.
Okay.
So it's kind of, people are not really very crazy about them. They feel like sometimes those events are not necessarily very helpful. Okay. So I don't usually go to events that are targeted for women, but I love going to events of that nature, conferences of that nature, so that I could learn about my own personal interests. Exactly. But yes, absolutely, absolutely. So where you can find me and what I have to offer. So again, I offer coaching for single women to help them find the partner that they deserve. So the program is 6 months long, where I get them from probably, and as you mentioned about the 12 years, like you're not that far off, from not being on a date for a significant period of time, building discernment, getting clear on exactly what they want out of a partner and a partnership.
Right.
What are some of the things that they need to work on for themselves to become a better version of themselves?
Exactly.
Navigating online and offline dating, and then
Right.
actually the date. So that's what I do in those 6 months, so that my clients can find that partner, and if they desire marriage, be walking down the aisle.
Now, let me ask you this. Let's just say we were in 2022 and we never had had any experience with any online dating. Would there be any ideas for women on that end? Or are or is it like if there was not online dating, it would be a little bit harder?
So, I mean, there's a mixed bag. Like, some folks say that online dating makes dating a little too easy and accessible, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like Uber Eats. Like, if we ain't have Uber Eats, you would be forced to cook, right? Or you wouldn't have a choice for that. But
Yeah.
we'd still eat. People would still get married with or without online dating. Like, we would find a way to partner up with or without online dating.
Absolutely.
So some people say that it makes it a little bit too accessible, a little bit too easy, especially for something that's so important.
Yeah.
I think that if online dating didn't exist, it never came to fruition for some reason, I think that matchmakers would be a lot more popular than what they are.
Yeah.
Because that's your human dating app, right? Where people are putting folks together.
Now that I love the whole idea of that. I used to watch Patty Stanger's Millionaire Matchmaker.
Yes.
And I like the idea of that, because you've got that third party person that's in there, figuring out if you look good on paper together, then getting you together to see if you have any type of synergy. Now that I like, because somebody's facilitating. It's kind of like your girlfriend saying, hey, my boyfriend has a best friend and he saw your picture and he's interested. Would you be okay if I gave him your number? So like, that's kind of like somebody. So that's how old school I am. If I didn't meet you at the gas station, if somebody didn't tell you about me and you inquired, if I haven't already chosen that, okay, that's the one that I'm interested in or whatever. Because here's the funny thing. I tell you something, all my life I've been chosen. I've been, chosen by someone that I was like, okay, I like this person, whatever. I've been married, I've been divorced, whatever. Now that I've gotten older, I said, I want to choose who I want. What do you say about that?
So I do think that it's mutual. A lot of people, if you're a Christian person, a lot of people lean on this idea about their Boaz, right?
Yeah.
And how Boaz found.
Read the book. Yeah.
I get it, but there are so many other things that are biblical that we don't follow either. Right? I'm not going to go look for a man because my Boaz is going to find me.
Exactly.
I think it's mutual in this day and age. I think that both parties need to be intentional about being with each other, wanting the same things, being clear about it, and then taking next steps. I don't think that we have a Cinderella situation where men are sweeping women off their feet. But I also find it very unattractive for a woman to ever make an effort to chase after a man. And I think that they'd be unsuccessful in doing so. So with those two things being said, then it has to be a 50-50 thing.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, well, good. Let everybody know where they can find you online. Tell them what your Instagram page is, how they can get a copy of your ebook, because I'm sure you probably have it on Amazon or something. And share anything else that you want everybody to know, because I want them to go to your page. I want them to connect with you, find out what you've got going on. If you've got some speaking engagements lined up that's coming up, at least you might end up in one of their cities or something.
Yeah, well, because I'm due in 3 months, I'm not going to be traveling on nobody's city. But yes, hopefully.
You stay home. You stay home.
I'll be back on the road soon. So you can find my website at bookalison.com, BOOKALISON.com, where I have a list of all of my free resources. My ebook is absolutely free. I have free trainings as well as some paid sessions. So if you're prepared to jump out the window and really invest in your love life and gain that clarity, then folks can book a session on that website as well. Absolutely. I'm very passionate about vetting. I talk about this with my clients all day long. So just like you should be vetting a man, you should be vetting any professional that you hire. So feel free to check me out on Instagram first before you download anything, even if the download is free. So you can find me on Instagram at Align with Alison, ALIGN, Align with Alison, 1L, Alison.
Yeah. And you said the website was bookalison.com?
Bookalison.com.
Okay, I wanted to make sure that I got that so that I could put that in the description as well. Well, Alison, leave us with one tip overall, just the overall one tip that would fit in for anybody that fits into the group of women age groups that you have 35 plus. What's one tip that you'd like to leave us with?
Yes. So one of my biggest tips I'd highly recommend is to change your language around dating. You mentioned your daughter saying something about the dating scene being trash, and it will be trash, or the dating pool is full of pee. It will be full of pee if that's what you continuously say, right? So anything that you repeat over and over again will eventually become your reality. If you don't believe you have the ability to lose the weight, you're never going to diet, you're never going to exercise, right? Right. So if you believe that the dating pool is full of pee or is trash, then that's going to be your experience. That's all your blinders are going to be on, and that's all you're going to see. So let's begin to change the language. We can be honest and say that it's challenging. Yeah. But just like you're a good person who's in the dating scene, there has to be another good person who's your counterpart, who's there as well. It's just about being intentional, asking the right questions, and putting yourself out there. This man is not going to ring your bell unless he is Uber Eats or the Amazon man or the plumber who comes by every 3 years. He's not going to just show up. So you have to put yourself out there at minimum socially, if not both socially, in person as well as online. But you got to put yourself out there in some form or fashion.
I love it. Thank you so much. You have shared so many great tips and ideas, and I'm going to make sure that the girls see this video because, you know, I could only give my little old lady response to them, but I like the response that you gave about it. And it is really all about what you tell yourself. It's what you're repeating in your head, and you start to believe those things that you say, and you don't realize, this is what I always say, you don't realize the things that you say, how they affect you on a cellular level. Like they get into you and can affect your whole language and your whole vernacular and everything that you say. And that's what it is. What you say, it is what it is what it will be if you keep saying that. Thank you so much, Alison, for being on the Mother Daughter Ish show. And we surely appreciate it. And for all of our listeners, make sure that, and our watchers, you know, on YouTube as well, make sure you go to bookalison.com and go to her Instagram page, Aligned with Alison. Look, let me tell you something. If you want to get those tips, you want to be on her live shows that she has. She is going to be having a baby here soon. So you better try to jump in now so that by the time she's got that baby and she's back on her feet, you can probably, you know, continue with one of her programs. I would say that if you are in the dating scene and you're wanting some tips and ideas to be able to change that language, to be able to change those ideas, to be able to incorporate some new things. If you are someone who does not do online dating and you think you might be interested in doing, she may have some really great ideas with you. So thank you for watching the Mother Daughter Ish show. And again, make sure that you're on our Instagram page at Mother Daughter Ish _. And if you want to support our podcast, it's $MDI podcast. And please make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube show. And again, Alison, thank you so much for being on the show today. And thank you for doing what you do to support women.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Wanting to book us for your show? It could be an expo. It could be any type of women's event. Contact Miller Booking Agency at mail.com. We're looking forward to meeting and greeting with you.